am super excited about our new unit. We talked a little bit about it last week, about how we're gonna start using less paper and pencil and more of just Chromebooks. And so as we're moving into a unit that's gonna be so Chromebook heavy, I do wanna take a time to just talk a little bit about being a good digital citizen. And you guys know these things, but you know, it never hurts to be reminded. Even adults need to be reminded about how to act online. The first thing we're going to hit is netiquette, which is just good manners when you're on the net. So we're going to have access, each of you would have access sometimes to other people's work. So there might be a shared classroom slideshow where each person is assigned to a slide, and you would have access to not just see other people's work, but you would have the power to actually change their papers or their answers and things. That would not be something you need to choose to do. So we're not going to manipulate other people's work when we have access to it, because that is just wrong. Remember, we do use Google products, so it keeps a history of everything that's happening. So if that were to happen, we could track down and see who it is. But we just don't want to treat people that way. Another thing we don't want to do is we don't want to copy other people's work. What is that called?
Cheating.
Plagiarism, which is cheating. It's, in some instances, it is illegal, but it's always wrong. Even if it's just you putting your homework paper beside someone else's homework paper and copying those problems onto your paper, you are taking their thoughts and ideas and posing them as your own, which is called cheating. So we want to make sure that we don't choose to do things like that. It's the third one. You guys know this one's going to be my big one because I'm all about you showing respect to one another. So we're not going to be mean online. There are going to be opportunities late in the unit for you to see the work of other students and have the ability to make comments on it. So we want to make sure that if you don't have something nice to say, maybe you don't say anything at all. There's just something about being behind a computer screen that makes people more apt to say things that they would never say in person. So whenever you're typing in an online setting, you want to make sure that what you're saying and doing is what you would say and do if you were in that person's presence. A lot of adults need to be reminded of that one too. Another topic besides just good manners online with netiquette is we need to also just talk about safety in general. You always want to keep your information safe. So when I send you to these different websites, some of them are going to have a place on their landing page for you to type in your name and your address and your information. We don't ever do that. We're not going to share our personal information online. We're going to be using the sign in with Google button. So that's the only thing we're going to be giving them is access to your school email. And then we know that outside sources can't even email you. So even though they have your email address, they can't reach you. So that's a safety feature the school system has for you guys. We are going to be using our Chromebooks, but our system, we are one-to-one. So that means that each of you have your own Chromebook that you take home each day. If you have internet issues at your house and we had something in class that you need to finish, remember, you can do that when you come on campus. If you need to come in my classroom in the morning to work on that, then that is fine. You're always welcome in here. But we are going to look at our learning targets. The first learning target we have is a digital target that we're going to be working on all week. And that one says students communicate complex ideas clearly and effectively by creating or using a variety of digital objects such as visualizations, models, or simulations. So that's where we're headed in this unit. It's not just to be able to communicate clearly with our written word, but to also be able to communicate what's happening in a situation graphically, visually. So we're going to be using some online graphing resources to help us create those models. For our math learning targets this week, these are the 3 we're going to be hitting. I can write and solve a 2-variable linear inequality that models a real-world situation. We've already done that with equations. Now we're going to be doing that with inequalities. Number 2, I can use technology to graph the solution set to a system of linear inequalities in 2 variables. And number 3, I can create a digital visualization of a situations graph and describe the solution both in written form and video form. So we're not doing video today. We're going to be doing more of writing and presenting with the visualizations. But in just a few days, you guys will be creating a video. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. But in the video, you're going to be explaining what's happening. You're going to basically be walking someone through the steps of how they could do this and achieve these different learning targets. Your face will not be in the video. You'll be doing a screencast kind of video where your computer screen is on the camera and we can hear your voice talking us through the problem. So I thought that to kick this unit off, we could start with a little short video. And in that video, they're going to kind of talk about a branch of mathematics that's relatively young. It arose because of problems, real problems, big problems that were part of World War I. And they brought in scientists, which mathematicians are considered to be scientists. So they brought in these professionals that could help with solving these problems. And what started out as a military issue turned into a problem-solving technique that could be used in a lot of different areas of our society and our economy, really. So we're going to watch this little video, and then we're going to jump into our tasks for today.